We are live.
Hey guys, hey Mike. Super excited to celebrate the birthday today. I also have another special guest, Crypto. She's here in my lap joining with us for the birthday. I see everyone, she's gone. I see everyone hopping into the YouTube saying happy birthday. Thank you guys so much. It's crazy. Also, I'm dressed crazy because we have something going on later. Excuse my
That's awesome. I love the creativity.
Thank you. It's just crazy thinking that CyberBrokers has been launched for a year. Obviously, we started building CyberBrokers well beyond a year ago, which we're going to go into some of the behind the scenes of the early art, some of the outtakes, the tech, the naming, all of these really fun things. We're going to go from the beginning and then also introduce you guys to the team as it is today and how it's grown. And
the whole team's going to be here for the first time.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I can't wait. So Mike, thanks for emceeing. I've already seen your guys' insanely fun tweets of changing all your layers, and a huge crazy shout out. I hope we can show it on here. If not, we'll have to link you guys to it, to Forge, who I think made our birthday cake in real life. It looks insane. So
I think I've got that. You want me to show that now?
Yeah. Can you? It's a good way to kick it off.
I can. There we go.
So this is crazy. If you guys saw our tweet, we drew a birthday cake for ourselves. We just made it up out of nothing, and then Forge made the cake IRL, and my jaw literally dropped. So amazing job.
Yeah, that is so awesome.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Thank you. I can't even. We need more pictures of that and a video. Actually, we need a video of that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I sometimes I'm like, it feels like so long ago. Like when I look at like the year in review, I'm like, oh my gosh, how did we get all that accomplished? And then when you're playing with like pixel brokers, which we're going to talk about later, it feels like yesterday because I'm like back in the layers. And
Yep.
Do you have that same like?
Oh, all the time. When I was looking at, so as you guys know, before launch, the team was myself, Ben Heidorn, who did the tech, Azamat, who we did the art together, and then Chris Chapman, who helped do all the lore and the naming and building out some of the fun like story elements of the collection. And when I was looking back for this party and like looking back on the art or the tool that we use that we're going to show you guys, I'm just like, I literally remember I had Brooke, who joined us right at launch. I literally had Brooke over to my house and we pulled like 3 all-nighters in a row to get CyberBrokers, like the collection QA'd, and like we were all like hands on deck, all of us pulling all-nighters in a row. And that feels like yesterday. Like it feels so short, such a short time ago, but it's been a year. It's crazy.
It's amazing. Okay, so let's kick this off. I think you have a DM you want to talk about, and then we can bring Ben Heidorn and Chris in to hang out with us, right?
Perfect. Yeah, you can pull that up. So we went back into the archives and we pulled out some fun things, but this was the day that I said, Ben, I have a project idea. I'm excited about it. And I knew I wanted to talk to Ben. Ben is like the god when it comes to like smart contract dev, and I had known him since I met him in 2018, getting introduced to Marguerite, and I was like, this is the smartest guy I know. I want to like push the limits here with putting this on chain. Like I want to do something crazy. And when I started chatting with him, I mean, you can tell like he literally answered me within 3 minutes, and we were on a call within a couple hours, and he was like, yes, I want to do this with you. So that was like a huge, really exciting moment because I had like the other half of like, okay, we can do the art.
You got the tech now, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, let's bring them in, right?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Oh, hey Ben. I was just talking about you. Mike. Hey Chris.
I saw that. Hello. That was very heartwarming. Thank you.
Also,
the 2020, that was so long ago.
May 2020.
It was crazy. And like we worked on it obviously for so long. And like when I was going through the messages with Ben and I before we had you join us, Chris, I was like, wow, like a lot of life happened when we first started the project. Like I had gotten pregnant. I was super sick. It like delayed us basically for like 5 months of my pregnancy. I was sick. So like that was like a huge delay. And I was like, wow, looking through these DMs, I was like, that was a miserable time, but it was also like a cool time to now look back on. So.
We were racing. We're like, okay, we gotta faster because the baby's coming, go, go, go. It was so funny.
And then it didn't launch until after.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's
we were like, okay, we gotta wait.
Yeah. We were cutting it a little too close. But yeah, we have so many, like, I would love, Ben, if you don't mind, if you remember some of those first like months that when we started working on it and chatting with Raya and like chatting with Peaster, chatting with all the people, if you have any fun memories from that.
I do. I have a lot of fond memories from that time. It was the perfect timing for you to reach out to me because, you know, the pandemic had started. We had nothing to do but stay at home and be on our computers all day. And when you messaged me about that, it was a no-brainer. There was never a moment of hesitation where I'm like, I don't think I want to do this. Like, it was an instant yes, and there was never a moment of doubt in that. It was crazy. I remember the first prototypes and everything. We did everything in 2020. We had like the first version of the tech, everything back then. But I would say the time that it took us to deliver it was, I think, a blessing in the end, because the tech in particular, I was able to make about 5 to 10x cheaper with things I had discovered over the following year. And then we were, of course, able to spend all the time making the art, and we were able to refine it. And we were able to bring Chris in, which was fantastic.
Yeah. And those early days, like with all the refining, I mean, you started having some people look at the contract and everything like that too, which was an interesting time. Some people who are like really excited and helping us early on. And then also there were a good amount of people on Twitter being like, you're not gonna be able to do it for anything reasonable. So that was kind of an interesting time.
I remember that. That was awesome.
There were a lot of doubters. Chris and I still talk about it a little bit behind the scenes, but that's because we have a chip on our shoulder. No, it was great to actually deliver on something that people said couldn't be done. I was really, really happy about that.
And who were some of the inspirations to, I guess, the contract in general? I know that you talk in the thread and stuff about some of the inspirations.
Yes, I had the very first thing I did was I studied the Avastar's contract, and then later on, one thing that had really helped a lot was studying the Avagachi contract. I'm trying to remember who wrote that, but I've mentioned him in the tweet thread about the technology.
Was it Nick something? Or maybe I'm thinking of someone else, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Yes, and using the technologies that they had figured out, we were able to put together like the most affordable possible way of storing everything, which was really cool. And I had the first version of the SVG parser in late 2020, but I do remember every single time I got a new set of images, a new set of SVGs from you, there was a new SVG tag in there, and I'd be like, oh, I gotta rewrite this again. So I had to rewrite it like 10 or 15 times.
Yeah, I probably gave everyone on the team like heart attacks or strokes multiple times, or at least at minimum like eye roll fuck yous, like at minimum.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, that's how things get built. Like Ben and I make games, right? And so games that's par for the course. As you go, you're learning, you're exploring. There's like you're doing stuff that nobody else has done, and so it's these are hard problems to solve, and they take a little bit of inspiration. Yeah.
As we go, I'm like, what about this idea? What about this thing? And then it's like, yes, and like I feel like we almost said yes to everything. Like I feel like there were very few things we
got really close.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that stopped us from putting even more stuff in there was just setting a hard deadline and then finally hitting it. Like we would have just kept adding stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's nice too because all the suggestions were things that had synergy with it. That were just incrementally harder to do, incrementally more work. It wasn't like, oh, what if we did this and let's just pivot over here somewhere. Yeah. So that like low key, everybody, Josie is actually a game designer. She doesn't know it yet, right? I don't
know about that. But yeah, I mean, Chris, I would love. So when we approached you about doing the story, I remember calling Ben because actually Andrew and I were like, who, like, we were brainstorming. For those of you who don't know, Andrew's my husband and he's in the space. And so, a lot of the times he's worthless when it came to CB. We were joking about the QA. Like, we were like, oh, we need to make like all of these. And like, we had 10,001 to go through. And he like QA'd like 10. And he was like, oh my gosh, that took so long. That was so much work. And I was like, get out of here. But there were a lot of things he was very helpful with. And we were brainstorming about, who can we have help us like write out this story? This is really important to talk about the origin of CyberBrokers. And we have these ideas, but like, we need an expert in this. And then I remember Andrew was just like, what about Chris? And I was like, I was like, I need to ask Ben. Ben knows Chris really well. And then I was like, kind of like, I wasn't sure what Ben would think. So I was like, what about Chris? And he was like, duh. He was like, yes, of course. Let me ask him. He's free. He has like a ton of stuff going on, but like, it was awesome.
I wanted to scream from the mountaintops, Chris. He's
Yeah.
the one that needs to be here. But I have brought Chris into everything at that point, and like it would have been such clear favoritism, and it would have seemed weird if I was the one who proposed that. So the moment you said Chris, I'm like,
yeah, really perfect. And then when you came in, Chris, like I remember I was like, oh my gosh, now that we have someone like that legitimately knows how to like write a story and like build these things, like I've already decided like 40 of the 50 talents, probably even more at that point. And I was like, because we were already doing all the art for it and had so much concept work. And I was like, what if this doesn't fit? What if it doesn't make sense? And like, I remember just feeling so excited when you came in and you were like, no, this makes sense because this goes with this goes with this. And these are like how you have it balanced with the different class types. Because we didn't have class types, obviously. Chris created like the warrior services, all that. And I was just like, I literally said to Chris, because like, I was like, is he just whatever the phrase is, like smoke up my ass right now? Like I was like, Chris, are you just saying that this works? Like, is this the actual best? Like I was like, we'll redo the art. Like I don't care. Like I want it to be the best. And he was like, no, these are legitimately good. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Like I said, like Josie's a game to that. She just doesn't know it. Yeah. Like and it was so funny because you guys reached out to me, and I collected Josie art before, right? And my personal grail is the tune-in because and I remember trying to chase one down forever because they weren't for sale, and if they were, it was like a jillion ETH, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get this somehow. Because I actually worked on 4 of the games in the picture during that 20 whenever that was 2018 2019 something like that. And so like that was a really important piece to me. And I, that's kind of how like I started out collecting Josie, and then we'd met a couple times at conferences and stuff, and so I was a total fanboy. And then she says, do you want to do the lore? And it was an immediate yes. She's like, wait, we'll pay you. I'm like, I don't care, everything, just let me. I will come in and I will, yes, please.
I will say that about both of you guys. I was like, hey, like, I can't pay up front, but like, once we launch, like, this will be the thing. And then you guys were like, don't care. I was like, okay.
Whatever you need, we're there. Like, just let me make this. That would be amazing. Yeah. And then I come in and Josie shows me all the job types, and they were called jobs.
They were called jobs. Yeah, I called them jobs, and you switched it to talents.
Yeah. So like we noodled a little bit with the terminology. I think we ended up dropping a couple of the talents because they just weren't inspirational for you, and like you're like, I don't know how to draw this. And remember we were going through like, what should this look like? What was the movie?
Yeah.
There was a movie for the Hollow.
With
What Dreams May Come. I was like, remember the big painting scenes? And Josie's like, I haven't seen it. Oh, you got to go see it. And yeah. No, we had so many fun conversations behind the scenes, designing all that.
Yeah, no, it was a blast. Anytime I had like a creative block, and I would be like, you know what? I'm going to ask Chris and Ben, like, what are you guys, when you think of this talent job at the time, like, what do you think of? And you guys were able to give me really good ideas and recommendations that helped inspire a good chunk of the talents, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was so good. And then she'd come back with these ridiculous pictures, and we're like, this is awesome. Are you sure these are vectors? We're zooming in. Are these really vectors? Yeah. they
Yeah,
are.
I have to do hats off to Ozma. Like we worked so well together, and like we would go back and forth on specific talents or different clothing types or whatever it was. And like I would show him stuff and he'd be like, yeah. And he would show me stuff and I'd be like, yeah. Like they were very,
Good.
we have some outtakes that we're going to show too. And they're only outtakes for like very specific reasons. Some of them probably could have made it in the collection, but like we didn't, once we got down the style, we used like, I'd say like high 80% of everything we concepted, which is pretty crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I think Mike is going to pop in and ask some specific questions that we probably didn't talk about yet. Cause we're just like, riffing.
Otherwise, we're gonna.
Hello, I love the riffing. I know it's so great. Ballistic had an interesting question. What talents got dropped? Can you name some of the talents you remember?
Villain wasn't villain one. I think villain was one.
Yeah, because villain.
Villain.
I've said this before. We were playing around, and I was like, and I have sort of made this joke, and people were like, "What?" Because remember when I told you guys, I was like, "What if we do like really creepy little kids, and like they're standing there with like melting popsicles and like looking at the kids creepy, and like everyone was like."
Kids.
I was like, okay, yeah, maybe kids isn't a good idea. But then we were like thinking for so long, like, what is the villain? Because a lot of this, you guys have to know, like, is inspired by like my origins in crypto art. Like, we wanted a lot of this to make sense in the context of, crypto and that whole ecosystem, but then also bringing in this sort of like cyberpunk futuristic flair. So like we were really merging those two. So we started thinking like, what is the villain of like, like crypto? Like what is the villain? And we were like trying to think of those things. And we started thinking of like propaganda billboards and like all of these things. And then we started going down this path of like, okay, this isn't really a villain, but someone who just follows, who's just like a straight up follower. And then I don't remember who thought of it, but then when we came upon sheeple, so villain turned into sheeple, basically.
Yep.
We were like, okay, that's cool. It's interesting. It's different. So that one transformed. And then there were other ones that dropped. I'm trying to think.
I can't remember.
I don't remember a specific talent, but I do remember that the Plasma Bear degen was not originally planned. The Plasma Bear, I think, came in the last like 2 weeks.
Oh, interesting.
We're so happy that with the Plasma Bears, but yeah, it literally, that was one of the last things we did. I think that was one of the last add-ons.
So that moves us into. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say we won't say what spot they filled, what we had to take out.
That moves us into launch madness. So it's a couple years in creation. You're finally here. It's February 2022, and it's launch week. Tell us about that.
So anyone who has made a collection this big will probably know this pain. We severely underestimated QA time, like severely. And Ben, obviously the tool we had, like, I mean, you guys can talk about this more, but like we had the part that we started to get that took some of the longest time, but helped us save time in the end because we had a pivot. At first we were like manually doing a lot of the combinations, like just straight up manual. If you guys can do the math of like spending like 4 minutes on each CyberBroker times 10,001, I don't know, it's years. So we started, Ben made this amazing tool, which we're going to show on here, that Brooke basically went through and generated hundreds and hundreds of combinations and started writing rules of this should never be shown with this should be shown with this. Chris and Ben both did some dev work behind the scenes to like pull up when we were generating a specific talent, like how many things from that talent that needed to show. And then they also took all of the rules that Brooke made and they put it into the code like as parameters for the tool. So that ended up saving a ton of time. But even still, I mean, we were all four of us were literally pulling all-nighters, like nights and nights and nights in a row. And I think we like all slept for a week after.
We wouldn't even tell each other that we were online. Like we were, I think we were all in Discord at this time, and I think we all just like turned off our notifications.
Invisible.
But we did not sleep well. Like the last 2 or 3 weeks, I think I slept an average like 3 to 5 hours a night. I know that was the case for everybody.
Yeah.
Because we'd just be waking up in the middle of the night and be like, oh, we gotta do this. And then we'd go and make more brokers or write more rules. Yeah.
And Jocelyn was helping us too. So Chris's whole household was working on it. My whole household was working on it.
Yep.
Rich probably wanted to kill you, Ben.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Rachel
funny.
wanted to help.
So the little known fact, Jocelyn named just a ton of the assets, because in building all these things, we had to pull together like 1,400 individual, something ridiculous like that, individual pieces of art, and they all needed to be named. Like they all had to have a name. And then, and then Brooke comes in with that and then like we're all in the tool, like validating stuff. I'm writing like Python, I think it was Python, like a Python script that would jumble all the things and randomly pull stuff together and create. And so I'm like taking the rules that like Brooke is making and putting them into the Python script to spit out a whole bunch of stuff. And there's this giant spreadsheet that we're importing. And then all of this goes into the tool, like Ben pulls that down into the generator, into the web tool that we're going to look at. And all of us are in the web tool, like clicking and like swapping out pieces. And it was a big concert, a big concert.
Let's jump into that, and then we want to come back and talk about the lore. So let's talk about the tech a little bit, and then let's talk about the lore. So Ben, can you kind of walk us through this tool?
Yeah, this is the actual tool that we use to make all the CyberBrokers. We use this for the QA and everything. I've got it down to like 80% screen because I'm 100%. It's full. It's too big. So one of the first things we did when working with Josie to start to organize everything was try to categorize things into layers, which I'm sure everybody who's a fan of CyberBrokers has definitely looked at the way that different layers are brought together. We had in the back end as well. So Josie would send me one giant what was the program you were using?
I was using Sketch. I should have used Illustrator.
The giant Sketch file, and the naming convention of every item in there had to fall under something, so it would show up as a layer in here. So you could actually go through here and like pick out. I love how I actually picked the wrong ones to look at. These are automated, but if we look at like backgrounds, for example, we've got there's a couple backgrounds in here that didn't make the cut. I forgot about that. I don't know. I don't remember which ones. We'd have to go through all 100, but there were a few backgrounds in here that didn't make it. There were a few other accessories in here at the very end that didn't make it as well.
Can we see the male underwear?
The male underwear.
But you'll see it in the concept art. Make it.
See if I can. We had to add all of these features one by one just to start cleaning things up. Let's see if I can find the underwear.
They're not,
I was not wearing anything at all. Awesome.
I don't think they're on this tool. They're in the concept art, which you guys will see, but they never made it to this tool. Like I accidentally deleted them from the file that I sent Ben. So they never got added in. Besides the camera underwear, of course. Those are iconic.
I remember them too. Like I remember them vividly from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like boxers or something.
Okay, look at that name, Suave Walton. That didn't get in, did it?
No, these are generating right now, right?
Yeah. So the name generation stuff was part of this Python script thing where it would actually go through and pick a bunch of we had this big batch. We had a big batch of first names and it's done by styles and things and whatever. And so this tool would like randomly throw them together with a few rules. That's why it's like so-and-so, the so-and-so, or you've got titles and all these things. And so this entire thing is randomly generating all these brokers, and it comes through and they're close, not perfect, right? But it does a nice, decent random distribution of them so that everything ends up like math working out behind the scenes from a game design perspective. but we go through this tool and make sure that nothing really looks silly or doesn't make sense, and we swap things out. And so literally what these are is every single broker, well, I shouldn't say every single broker, aside from the ones that were in the story, every single broker was a random generation button like Ben's doing, where he just clicks randomly generate. And we're like, oh, this one looks good. Click, this one looks good. Click, this one looks good. Click.
Oh my God, look at that one.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
these right now that he's clicking, these are CyberBrokers that don't exist. These are randomly generated. The name is randomly generated. So these are like, don't actually exist. He's doing this live. This is the tool we actually used. And then when we found one we liked, and sometimes we would re-roll because the name just was bad. So we'd have to like re-roll it, or not bad, but like didn't, we
didn't like it. We're just like, oh, this could be cooler. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we would click lock, which like there's a little lock button up there, which means like, okay, this one's good to go. So we had to like lock a lot. And then a lot of the talents with the smaller quantities, we hand selected like most of them to make sure that they all like looked and felt specifically like those smaller talents too.
So every single broker was touched by somebody who looked at it and was like, yes, this looks good. Or tweaked it.
Every single one, all 10,001.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That takes a long time, by the way.
Yeah.
Also,
like, all right, I'll do the 800s. Okay, you do the 600s. All right, you do the 500s. And we're just like, click.
Well, we started doing them by talent. So we added this feature to only look at a certain talent, and then it would just iterate through the talents as they came. So you could then modify them. Yeah, and then one thing we added was whenever we had the specials, Josie wanted to be able to change the backgrounds. So she would come in and manually do the backgrounds for all the specials.
Yeah, I did a lot of backgrounds manually.
Okay, we need to keep moving. We could sit here and browse all day. I love that, and maybe we'll have a special session of just browsing this tool live. Let's switch to the lore a little bit. So I kind of remember a story about Josie jumping up and down on her bed reading the first story. So that story's already out there. But how did we get to where we are now? So let's go back, and Chris, I think you had a vision of where it was going, but how did that work out to complete what we're calling version alpha now?
So Josie brought me in to help with the story. I looked at all the talents. We started with the kind of game design nuts and bolts of things, and so I could get my hands around like all the pieces and parts. And then anybody who knows me knows that I come up with all my ideas in the shower. All my best ideas come out of the shower, right? It's just a thing. And so Josie was like, "Oh, really?" And then literally like 2 days later, I get a package in the mail, and it's a little notepad that is waterproof and specifically in the shower.
That was so weird. I had no idea where it came from. She just like clandestinely asked for our addresses, and I think it was more like 2 weeks. And then it showed up, and I'm like, "What?"
Oh, Ben, you got one too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is still in my shower, and like even after like CyberBrokers, like I've got all my Soulcast stuff has come out of there, like the Mythos stuff I'm working on, like all of that is all like that thing is my mecca. Like it is my office. Joss laughs at me because I'll be pacing around the house. I'm like, I gotta think. All right, I'm gonna go take a shower. It's like the third shower of the day or whatever, right? And I'm just stand under the hot water and just do the anyway. So I had to come up with like the cool lore that attached to all this stuff, and that's when it was a shower moment that I was like, the brokers are AI. Oh, this is awesome. And so that was, when was that? That was like September of 2021, somewhere in there. It was before, it was pretty early on. But I put together this little slideshow, like 4-page thing to kind of like bullet point outline, like this is sort of how the story should go. And I'm like, yeah, we're gonna set it up with the AI is the bad guy, right? And we want to pit like brokers and drifters and everybody against AI because AI is the bad guy, and then build some empathy with the brokers because oh man, they're going to get unplugged because the AI is going to be mean to them. And then it was like, then we're going to flip the switch and all of a sudden they're actually AI, and everybody's gonna be like, what the hell? Oh my God, how does this work? And we're gonna we're gonna make the whole community just like lose their shit on this. And come to find out, the whole community lost their shit on it. It was so awesome. But that was a super secret, and we had to keep that secret the whole way up. And so
oh, by the way, about the super secret, we'd be on calls with people and I'd be like talking to them about it. And Chris was like, don't say it, don't say it. They have to read the chapter like 4, they have to blah, blah. I was like, okay. And like, he like made me stay true to it, which I loved.
Yep. And then so they thought it was a good idea, obviously, because it was an amazing idea. And then I wrote the first chapter, kind of introducing the world, introducing spice, all of those things. And, because that's one of, I write things. It's one of the things I do. And it was, like 200 words or something like that. Send it over to Josie. And I get this call. This is the coolest thing ever. I'm jumping on it. Like, it was so much fun. And it warmed my heart. I was like, oh, this is great. I love this. I love everything here.
It was like the missing piece. Like Ben and I and Ozma, we were like, okay, art and tech, like fire, done, amazing. And then like this was like the thread that tied it all together. So it was awesome.
It was really cool. And so then I ended up writing the first 4 chapters by myself, which wasn't going to scale because Josie's like, we need a chapter a day. And I'm just like, oh my God. Well, maybe not a chapter a day, but like we wanted to like crank out as much story as we could because it was cool and engaging, and like the community loved it and it was fun and all those things. And so we gathered together like a writer's room. And so that was the impetus of like pulling all of this together, because poor Chris can't just like hammer out that many words by himself. And so that ended up being just fabulous, right? Because the writer's room then all of a sudden is helping develop out all the lore and helping write all the bits, like the newspaper and all the things. Like the writer's room for CyberBrokers is amazing.
So I'm curious. You got the whole brokers are AI thing. We all, fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And then you threw the love plot at us, and we completely forgot about brokers are AI and started fighting about Ken versus Zinc.
Yep.
So
that's exactly it, right? Like, so if you think about like the story beats, right? It's build empathy for the brokers, throw everything in chaos, and then you heal all that chaos with this sort of love story. And yeah, AI is actually not that bad, right? Like, so you gotta like make that U-turn thing. And so that was all intentional. All of that was intentional. Maybe not like Team Ken, Team Zinc, right? Like that was a fun like emergent piece of it. But having that love triangle, totally on purpose, because plot is cool, but character rules, right?
So how do you think the ending? Because you had an idea of where it should end, as far as like plot point, but the path to get there and the details, how did you think that all worked out in the end? Because brokers made choices. Well, we all influenced it, right?
And that was sort of the fun, sort of the like that piece was sort of the whole point of everything going in, right? Is because I wanted to tee up a thing, introduce the stuff, and then let the community kind of guide the stories. And so behind the scenes, we've got these vague, I'll call them tentpole directions where we want to go, right? So here's sort of a thing, but who the bad guy is, we don't know yet. Who the thing is, what happens to the good guy, we don't know that yet, but something happens to a good guy at some point here, right? Like we've got these high level 3-act stories sort of things. And then the community, through like contributing to the quests and all those things, they drove those pieces of story. And so it ends up being kind of like this choose your own adventure story, right? But the cool part about it is that, like, if you look at something like Netflix, that I forget the thing that they did that was a choose your own adventure show.
Black Mirror did it.
What was it?
Didn't Black Mirror do it? Black Mirror was where you would choose.
I don't remember.
Black Mirror.
Yep. Yeah. Somebody in the comments will figure that out for us. Bandersnatch, thank you. Nice work. I knew it. So with that, right, you have to produce everything and ship it, right? So you have to have the entire story written. You have to film all the different endings. You have to like write all the different endings. So it's an enormous amount of work. And when you do that, the amount like you actually create like 200 hours of story, but the audience only sees like 2 hours of story because there's a whole bunch of stuff that they don't and they've got to explore. And so it ends up being a lot of work for something that's cool, but not a lot of payoff. What we did though is since we had these high level like outliney things, like does the community want to go this way or this way, and we're writing the story as we go. If you think about it like a branching tree, and those nodes are pruned off because the community did not choose those new nodes, you don't have to create anything out there. Like we're just going this way now. So we end up spending time creating like a normal amount of content for everybody, but it's all driven by the community.
Yeah, I remember.
We don't have to pre-generate all that stuff.
I remember you sharing some of the options that didn't end up being chosen in part of the lore listing parties. Okay, one last question about lore, then we need to move on to the contract. Yeah. Any predictions for the future?
No.
Well, just your own personal thoughts. I mean, I know you're not as involved anymore, so you can be a fan. And what do you think might happen?
Well, the people in the comments right now are trying to guess when Spice will come back since all the drifters are locked out. So that's what the comments are trying to figure out what's happening there.
Chris can't answer those questions specifically, but I was just curious as a fan if he had a thought of what you'd like to see.
As a fan, I would like to see additional stories, right? And I would like to see Spice or Slaya, or like I would like to see them like hover in the like be parts of the background, like texture in the new stories, right? So that they all kind of fold together. I remember we were going to do one. It was, what was it? It was like a buddy cop thing for the comic. We were going to like seeing that story come out would be super fun. So
yeah, a lot more side stories to keep building.
Yeah, I would love, right? Because that gives us more space for the community to tell stories. Because once we kind of expand out the world and bring in extra characters, that's a thing where we can start using different brokers from the community, or maybe somebody in the writer's room has a great idea for some side story, and they don't have to be long. They can be little short ones, or all kinds. Anyway, my point is, I would love to see more stories in the world.
Perfect. I know there's some holders that are. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say we have some of that coming up, so I'm excited.
Yeah. And I know there's some holders working on some things too. So it's kind of like what you're talking about.
And I'm trying really hard not to spoil some of the things. So I know.
Thank you.
But I would love to see a lot of that. Especially with mechs. That's a good point.
Yeah. Getting mechs into there as well.
Oh my God. One last little lore noodle thing before we go on to something else. So we were like 5 stories in or something, and it was when we were starting doing the mech parts, right? With the missions and all of those things. And Ben knows where I'm going with this one. And so we're needing to do the tech behind the scenes with the mech parts and all the things, like write the contract and all the things. And Ben is just like, what the hell? Why are we doing mechs? What is happening? And I'm like, ooh, somebody hasn't read the story.
I wasn't going to throw him under the bus. I can't believe you're going to do this.
I can throw Ben under the bus. It's okay. He throws me under the bus. I throw him. It's all good. And then he read the story. He's like, oh, okay. I get it.
Yeah, that was fun.
So moving to Ben, can you tell us more about the smart contracts? I think people still haven't really dug into it fully. And, are there like some Easter eggs in there?
There was one Easter egg that Chris immediately latched onto and said, keep it. It's a burn function that's in there, but we called it unplug. And as you can gather, that kind of reveals a little bit of the lore in advance of, if anybody read through the contract, you might find a few hints in there. The contract itself, there's a lot of things that we had planned for that we didn't fully utilize, and there are things that we might still utilize in the future. That contract was at the time the most advanced thing I had ever written. I'm not saying that I'm, a top tier Solidity engineer.
You are.
Not trying to compare. I'm not trying to
You
compare
are.
to
I'll say
other
it for you.
amazing things I have seen people make. But I will say, writing that and bringing CyberBrokers to life has allowed me to meet a lot of amazing people over the last year. Fantastic smart contract engineers who told me things I didn't even know was possible. So I'm thinking a lot about what comes next, for sure.
And do you remember how much ETH it took to put it on chain?
I don't know, 91.04. Nobody actually remembers the actual number.
There you go, 91.04.
It was something like 91. Yeah.
Somewhere in that range.
Something. There was like 76 for the actual SVG layers and 14
and 13, yeah,
for the, or
yes.
13 and something for the.
Yeah, for all the names and the metadata that we packed. Yeah.
Who created all the stupid names that we had to put on chain? Like, good lord.
I know that caught me at the end. I didn't even think about it till like near the end of the project. I'm like, we'll just use the thing that we already made, the data storage thing. We'll just shove it in there and just read like a section of it. Yeah, that'll be fine. It'll work, and it did.
It pulls up the spreadsheet, and it's like a 5.5 megabyte spreadsheet.
Yeah. Yeah. Pulling all that stuff was fun. So one thing that I thought was funny was, people kept saying like, oh, it's going to cost between 250 to 1,000 ETH to put this on chain. Like, use my tech, I'll bring it down from 1,000 to 500. And I'm like, all right. It's not like we're professionals. Like I gave Josie an estimate of the cost from like the first day that I had a contract ready. Like we knew it was going to be expensive to do, which is funny because back when it was Josie, myself, and we had Rhea Myers helping us for a bit in the first few months. For anyone who doesn't, I think probably everyone on this knows who Rhea is. Absolutely amazing technologist and engineer and visionary. We had originally estimated the highest gas price at 40 Gwei in mid 2020, where like things could get really packed out there, get rough. It could go up to 40, and we're doing numbers, and we're like, this is really expensive. And then of course, like we got really lucky that we were able to ship it overnight between like 15 and 25 in like a lull. Like that was crazy. Awesome. Yeah. I won't take too much more time, but I remember meeting the developers of the Worm NFT, who were some of the funnest people to talk to. Really, absolutely amazing. They and a few other developers, I remembered meeting them, and they all told me like, yeah, we were watching you deploy like all the SVG layers overnight. And I'm like, how did you know? Like that was the worst night's sleep I'd ever had. Was like, I had a script that was supposed to deploy 2,000 transactions to get all the layers on chain. And I was so nervous because like one screw up and all of a sudden I've just cost Josie and CyberBrokers like another $100,000. Like that was extremely nerve-wracking, but we got it right the first time, which was awesome.
And I will say about the contract thing, I even had someone recently when I was on a Spaces, they were like, well, it's not actually on chain. Like the pictures are on IPFS, that it points to, and then you guys have stored like something on chain. I was like, no. I was like, we need IPFS in order for platforms like OpenSea and other marketplaces to be able, because they don't read SVGs well, to be able to get the images easily. Everything is on chain, and we've had people obviously recreate the art directly from the code. So just putting that out there in case anyone still thinks that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. Ben, could you tell me how many actual number of contracts it sits in?
I don't remember the exact number. I think if we include like the sale, and there was a
Range.
temporary metadata one before we deployed the final metadata one, because we had the sale, and then the metadata pointed to our central server because we didn't want to leak what people were getting. So we decided to deploy the metadata immediately, but only after you purchased the CyberBrokers. And then a week later, we had deployed everything on chain and then replaced it all. So it would just come right from that. I think it was 6 or 7 contracts in total, and they're all linked together, which is pretty cool.
But the layers, how
Oh, the
many
layers.
contracts are the layers stored in?
Oh
You
my
mean
goodness.
Rough
I actually
number.
I don't know how many contracts they're stored in. I know it was like 2,000 transactions, and I know the contracts, I think they were created per layer, if I remember correctly. So it would have to be something like 600, like 500 and 600 contracts.
Yeah. So I think that's another important point. It's one thing to be able to say you're on chain, so that is absolutely powerful statement. It's there forever. But the level of complexity of making that statement for CyberBrokers is next level, because the number of moving pieces that sit underneath, and it all works flawlessly.
It's pretty ridiculous. Like, one of my favorite pieces that Ben wrote in there actually was the reveal step, right? We talk about that, Ben, about the I don't want to trying to do you know what I'm talking about? I don't want to give away the thunder, right? The
reveal mechanic.
Yeah.
Do you mean just how we use the server in the back end, or maybe I'm thinking something different?
No. Like the where we waited until the next block.
Yes. We were worried because we didn't reveal people's metadata until a block finalized, because we figured at that point people wouldn't try to like do MEV transactions or revert previous ones and try to snipe a different broker based on what the metadata came back. So
because we've seen that happen before in other projects.
Yes. Chris and I had in another way that we were lucky and blessed that about the time that it took for CyberBrokers to come out, we got to see the way other projects had launched and things that worked for them and things that didn't work for them. It allowed us to plan our rarity in advance, so we knew to balance things so that it made sense. We knew which drop mechanics worked best, and we knew that we wanted an instant reveal, because we have a lot of core principles, but it's to always make people feel like they're seeing the truth for exactly what it is at any point in time. And that was, we didn't want people to be gambling on a pre-reveal CyberBroker and do a reveal mechanic. So we did automatic reveal right away, 1 block after with the server. And it was during that time that I had realized I had forgotten, and this was one of my mistakes, I had forgotten how hard people will write bots to spam metadata servers, and that took down the reveal portion of the site for the first day. We all do it. I do it too. So I had to rewrite that and make it more efficient, but there was actually a really nice reveal mechanic. If you stayed on the site and bought your brokers, you actually got this little experience that's very similar, not as cool and refined as the mech reveal, but there was an earlier version of that, and that was the CyberBroker reveal. And I think nobody got to experience that because of how hard our servers were getting slammed.
Crushed, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's another point about launch was, and I haven't seen that used a lot, the concept that you immediately got it, the market started, you didn't really have an understanding of what rarity talents were, but you were starting to see them pop out, and it was like this total, fun week of watching it happen.
Yeah, I wanted to vomit and jump up in excitement at the same time, that whole entire week. So, anytime, as an artist and dropping stuff previously, anytime something goes live, it's the worst and best feeling ever, or every emotion at once at the same time. So when I saw people putting oh my God, I got a politician. This is the first one. I got a this, I got a that. It's like, I have like, it's weird because it's exciting, but you still have this feeling like you're on a roller coaster, like, so it was really insane, seeing all that happen live.
Another thing we did that was kind of crazy was we didn't have a public mint, right? It was allow list only, and
it never got there. Yeah.
And that's been one of my favorite things, because that meant that the brokers went to people who loved it, right? They went to people who had followed the project, were in the project, were into the things, and they were the ones.
That's a really good point. I remember that from the very beginning. Josie wanted. I'm trying to remember how you framed it, Josie, but you knew that your art was out of reach for a lot of people, and you wanted there to be an accessible way for people to have your art, and you wanted the allow list to be based on people who had followed your work and everything that you had done for years up to that point. You wanted each and every person.
Yeah, I wanted anyone that was truly interested in my work in the past to be able to take part in this. So we gave all of my newsletter people, Discord people, Twitter people, current holders, behind the art, like anybody who had touched anything that I had done, we immediately gave them a slot, allow list slot. So that was super important to me, to have the brokers in the hands of people who really wanted them. And obviously we see that now with a ton of like diamond holders and whales in our community that double, triple down. So it was awesome.
I remember us getting emails, like we were getting messages like, dude, I've got this huge alpha group and we own like 45 million Bored Apes and we're going to buy the shit out of us. Just give us some slots. We'll raise your floor.
Which was awesome. But we were like, sorry, it's already done. Like this is how we did it.
Yeah, we turned down every one of those.
Yep.
And there was a little gas war at the very end, but for the majority, it was just like,
yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
There was no competition because you all knew what you could get and what you couldn't get, so it wasn't a huge rush. It was only that last 500 brokers that were left or something like that.
Yeah, there was a small number left that we wanted to give to the whitelist or the allow list folks, right? We wanted to enable them to get an extra one if they wanted to, basically. And come to find out, our 5,000 people that were on the list or whatever crushed the gas for them.
Oh my God. Didn't see that coming. Maybe it should have been obvious, but it was gone in 5 minutes tops, I think.
Yeah.
So we need to keep moving here.
Into the concept art and everything.
Yeah. So yeah. I think the last part to kind of close this out was, so the mint happened, and then NFT NYC came along, and CyberBrokers scored 2 individual awards there. Do you want to mention them, Josie? I'll
let Ben.
Yeah, we've got both right here.
Oh, trophies!
What?
Boom!
Yeah.
That was super cool.
Pretty wonderful. Josie, I said I would mail you one of these, and I haven't done that yet.
Wow, so you're later.
I am very late to that.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
Awards, right? What are the titles of both?
The most innovative NFT smart contract. I was very, 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 very proud of that one. That felt like validation for everything we had done for years. And this one, very well deserved, the best use of emerging technology in digital art.
Yeah.
Which, I would agree.
And given the other names that were getting awards, that was a huge, pat on the back of how amazing CyberBrokers had done in just, initial launch.
I think we were nominated for 7 to 10 awards or something. CyberBrokers got, we were in all the categories, or a lot of them.
And then Josie, you were nominated for something.
I think with NFT Now, that same time. So we got 3 awards all at once. We got those 2, and then NFT Now, I got the top 100. I forget the title. The top 100 in the space, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember do you remember the exact title? Top 100 NFT something.
I thought it was top 50 in artists in the NFT space. It could be 100. I can't remember.
Artists. It was artists, influencers, platforms.
Yeah.
like
It
anybody
was
in
top
this.
100, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was awesome. Cool.
Okay, so for more details on the smart contract, on the awards or anything that's talked about, there's a bunch of blogs. Go to the CyberBroker website, click the blog button, and there's all sorts of stuff to follow up on if you want more information about that. All right, Josie, I think we need to close out the historical part of our birthday party and move into a more present version. Is that right?
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you, Ben and Chris, for joining. I wouldn't kick you off except Restream has a 10 max limit, so I'm kicking you off. I love you guys, and you guys were such, obviously, a huge part of the process.
Thank
you
you
so
so
much, Josie and Mike and Chris. Great to see you again.
Indeed. We'll do more stuff in the future, I'm sure.
Nah, I don't think so.
Thanks, guys.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay, so we're gonna pull up.
We're going to pull up some concept art.
This I'll whip through, even though I think this is really fun. So there were a lot of early, like I'm showing a very small snippet, but there were a lot of early iterations testing with SVGs in general and what kind of art that we could get with SVGs. So I put a few here of some of like the very early ones. Obviously, you see it getting closer and closer to a CyberBroker. The guy at the end feels.
This is a whole new style that was created just to get CyberBrokers on chain, right? Because you had to think about the design of the art with size. Right. Yeah.
So all of these are SVGs, but they are totally different, obviously, or they're different styles. So we started with a lot of experimenting what kind of art style like we wanted these to look like, how to get them in SVG and be not just flat, like really feel like it had some dimension. So these were some early faces that we were working on. And then actually these were all faces before I brought in Ozmot, teamed up with Ozmot to help do the rest of the collection. So these were ones that I was showing him, like, especially the guy and the girl at the end. I was like, this is, the vibe I'm thinking. I like where I'm headed with this. Let's work together and do some more concepts. So Ozma and I, once we joined forces, if you go to the next picture, I think it's the camera.
Yep.
So this sketch on the far left was the first sketch that once Ozma and I joined together that we worked on. So I was like, gave him the vibe of like the face and the outfits, and we started talking about what we started with the camera. At the time I called them cam girl, cam boy. We changed it to be camera. What I wanted the camera to look like, and giving him like ideas and sketches of the ears and sort of the vibe I wanted. And Ozmot dreamed up this this is one of my favorite jackets in the whole collection. Ozmot dreamed that up completely, which I was really excited about. And he showed me this sketch, and then we went to go into the final round of the concept. And here were two different ones that we were playing with. Obviously, we went with the one on the right. The one in the middle is a little bit of a different outfit, but we use those tights in other places.
It's amazing how close to the original it is.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that was one of the first sketches, which was really, really cool. And then what's the next picture? Oh,
well, let me just stop and ask a question again, because given you knew you were going to put it on contract, how much thought went into the artwork design to accomplish that?
The art, once we figured out the style and knew that it needed to have like this, like a little bit of like a poly, like low poly feel, that it could have the angles and everything. We did not limit ourselves in any way after that. We were like, do the art justice. And then I hand translated everything to SVGs to like do the most, make it as close as we could to these initial drawings that we did. So we didn't give ourselves any limits on the first rounds of the drawing. And then once we translated to SVG is where I had to pare back on some things, reduce some of the details to get it on chain.
Yeah. But you created a whole style just for doing this. Okay, just want to make sure people understand that. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. Sorry.
So these are I was wanting to show in here, like, I know this all says concept art, but I was like, it'd be more fun to show some outtakes. So on the left is one of the very first Android experiments we were doing. And I just, for some reason, like, the body's cool. I didn't like the way the face fit on the head. And I was like, I want to stick with more, which now looking back on it, it looks epic. But I wanted to stick with more of like the body style we had, but do specific like cutouts for the Android. This was also one of the outfits. We were like thinking of something Android specific that could still show off the body. This was one of the early outfits that didn't end up making into the end of the collection, but it's just kind of fun to see where we started with the Android and where we went.
Ballistic has a question. Did you ever work with SVGs before this?
Not this intense. I had worked with SVGs previously for like, when I say graphic design, I mean like graphic design, right? Like logos and people's websites and like decks and making different things. So yes, I had worked with SVGs before, but this is like way more intense than the other things that I had worked on. But like with Voice of Blockchain and a lot of other conferences I did, I needed banners to be printed, like massive banners, right? To be printed 100 feet long. So I made all of those in vector art. So I definitely knew how to work with vectors, but not to this extent. So that was fun.
Awesome. Okay, let's keep going.
Oh, okay. So these were also more outtakes. We were like, okay, VR headset, like kind of fun. And like
the ears.
Oh yeah, the ears and the little horns just got, and even the Medusa stakes, it just became too fantasy and like too mythological, and like it was just sort of the wrong direction. Not wrong direction, but it just didn't fit as well in the collection. The VR headset, I was like, no, this doesn't seem futuristic. This seems too today. And we initially just drew it because I was like, I feel like it's an iconic thing, and like CryptoPunks and like, and I was like, just in general, like VR in general is cool, but it just seemed too dated. The skirt, I don't remember why I didn't add the skirt in. I feel like I just didn't like it with some of the combinations.
That looks amazing, but I can see where it wouldn't fit with the combination.
Yeah. And then the neon suit in the top left, it just wasn't playing nice with some of the other layers, so I chucked it out, even though I love it. I want a real one of those in real life. That'd be epic. We go to the next one. Oh yeah. Okay. So these were also, I sometimes wish we would have kept the anonymous mask. But it felt a little cheesy. I don't know why. I was just like, eh. And then the chains in the bottom right left, you guys know this as like a separate shoulder piece and a separate mask, but like originally it was created as one whole piece. It wasn't playing nice with hair or a lot of different clothing. So I ended up breaking that apart. And then some of the other ones, like, I know there were probably people who wish that we would have done the neck tattoos. There was just, it just didn't end up working in the final one. So these were also some other outtakes.
And the male underwear.
Oh yeah, do you see him? Oh yeah, there was a comment of it. Yeah, those were the male underwear that were supposed to be on the CyberBrokers, and somehow I deleted them from our sketch file that I sent Ben. So males don't have underwear unless they're the camera. Sorry.
That's okay. It's a fun part of the collection, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I love that. That's not a face style on the upper right. That's not a face style I see in the collection currently, is it?
Which one? The girl?
Yeah, the girl in the upper right.
So yes, but it's a yes, she's in the collection, but a lot of these faces were tweaked.
Okay.
So yeah, but she's actually the one that I have under my mask in my CyberBroker.
Okay. Was that the last one?
No, I think there were a couple more. We could whip to the next. So this was fun. We were considering doing male hollows. I mean, you guys know that 60% of the collection is female, and we already had the architects that were both like had a feminine body, and I was like, honestly, like I want to keep him female. So we did the 3 hollows all female, but here's an early iteration of, we would have continued to work on his face a bit. It doesn't quite work here, but we would have continued to work on him if we went that way. The first picture, we were struggling. This was one of those ones where we were struggling for inspiration on how to like do the hollow art. And then once we finally got like exactly where we needed, you could see some of the inspiration pictures around it. Once we finally got it to that version on the right, we were happy with it. And then I think maybe there's 2 more. Let's see. I'm not sure how many more slides there. Oh, okay. This one's fun.
Yeah.
This is the last one. Let me check. Oh, darn, I don't have it on this. Anyways. Oh no. I lost our restream. Here we go. So this was really fun. This is originally, we were working on 4 architects. They weren't initially called architects. Or maybe they were. We were working on 4 different architects. I wanted one that really represented like code, which you'll see that one of the reference pictures up there is my Hal Finney piece of artwork with the code around his head. And I was like, okay, we could do it around her body. And we were just trying to think of, you know, these different types of architects. And then we got to the point where I really loved the ones on the left with the different like black outlines are just super cool to see, to look back on. I was excited when I found that picture. But then I really wanted to focus on these 2 really special, unique ones that sort of like were opposites, the faith and the fact. So that was really cool to pare it down to 2, but you can see some of the earlier versions before.
This actually has a good question for you. Was there ever any idea of having just a black and white broker versus color? Just like to randomize the collection at all?
So we actually had considered playing with the colors in a few different ways, like having some that had like almost like the same jacket but in like 6 different colors, or like obviously this is playing with black and white, but the architect is where we wanted to keep specifically black and white for the bases. We didn't want to do it with other brokers, and then
separate them out.
But we did want to do like a little bit of transparency, which we ended up doing with the Spectre.
Cool. Is there one more or not?
I think this is the end.
Okay.
I think so, yeah.
So let me pull that off. I can see if there is another slide or not. There is not. Okay. So that was a great look. I know we whipped through that. We'll make sure to make that presentation available in Discord and Twitter so people can look later. It is now time to bring up the core CyberBrokers team. So I'm going to bring them up one at a time. They get to introduce themselves, and then we'll chit chat. And this will give you a view of like what our daily life is like as we have team meetings. So first up, I see, excuse me, I see Brianna's screen on. So we're going to bring Brianna up first.
Hey, Brianna. Oh, you're muted.
Muted.
Hello, happy birthday, CyberBrokers.
Love the background.
And tell us your role in CyberBrokers.
So I'm Brianna. You may recognize me from Discord as Lady Diamond Hand. I do marketing, ops, lore, a little bit of everything at CyberBrokers. So super excited to be here and say hi to everyone.
Okay, I'm trying to get this in the right spot. There we go. Okay, sorry, it took me a minute there. Okay, next up is Ben D.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, Ben.
Hey, so I'm Ben. I'm head of creative innovation at CyberBrokers, and yeah, I do all things that have to do with AI, AR, and VR. So yeah, excited.
Awesome.
And,
love the background.
Oh, thanks. AI generated this, of course, and popped some CyberBrokers elements in there as well.
Okay.
Love it.
Next up is Sam. Say hello to Sam.
Hello, everyone.
Amazing.
And what do you do at CyberBrokers?
And I am the creative producer at CyberBrokers, and I lead the lore and gaming departments.
Woo woo. You're going all out for that prize today, I can see. Okay. Next up, we have Brooke. Say hello to Brooke.
Hey guys, my name is Brooke.
You're mute.
No, she's
I'm
good.
Sorry.
Not muted on my end. You guys hear me?
You're good.
Okay. I'm the COO at CyberBrokers, and my job is to oversee the day-to-day operations and help everything run smoothly. I also have some birthday cake back here. I just want to point that out. It's not as cool as the cake that was made for us, but gotta do what you gotta do.
Awesome, and I can see you're going all out for the
Yeah,
celebration as well.
I came to win. So,
Okay.
and it's not AI generated; it's human generated. Just gotta point that out.
Yeah. Well, that'll be curious to see if that comes into play. And next up is Brendan. Say hello to Brendan.
Hello, I'm Brendan, and I do all things dev. I'm one of the two main devs working on this. Do a little bit on the front end, a little bit on the back end.
And we're missing two people. Josie, do you want to introduce them?
Yes. Only two? We're only missing two?
Benji.
All of us joining here. Okay. So we don't have right now Benji. Benji on the stream. Obviously, he's our other dev. Love Benji. He, as a lot of you guys know him, failure from CryptoVoxels. So super excited to have Benji. And then also Bea, who helps us with marketing and comms, and Ozmat. Ozmat was planning to join today, but time zones got super mixed up, which we're sad. But Ozmat, as you guys know, has been working with me since the very beginning on the art of CyberBrokers. So those are our missing folks.
So, Josie, tell us about this contest, because we all seem to be trying to go for something here, but it's unclear what we're trying to do.
Yes, so there was a little contest, which it's funny, Sam, because of how crazy you're dressed, you're like fading in and out. There was a little contest.
That's a feature, not a bug.
Yes, exactly. To do the most epic CyberBroker themed background or outfit or whatever it is. So as you can see, I am my android, who has a very long name. I am dressed up as her, even though I look a little bit scarecrowish. I'm supposed to have the android lines, same hairstyle, the wings. That's who I am, but everyone else can explain theirs too. And then you guys, wait, they're voting on who is the best, right?
Yes. Yep. So let me get you back. So first up was Josie, and can you explain that quick again, just for everyone?
I'm dressed up as this android, minus wearing a bra on stream, but that's what I'm dressed up as.
Okay, I'm just going to go in order here. And Brooke, would you like to present your idea?
Yeah, I'm not like dressed up as anything. I'm wearing this really awesome jersey though that has Josie's mask on it, and I know Mike, you and I match. But I have this really cool poster that we actually were sent as a present from Glad Eye, the team that helped us develop our website. So I have that as the background and the birthday cake and balloons.
That's pretty cool.
Okay. Sam, you're up next. Tell us about your birthday presentation.
I am dressed up like Joker, who is our mysterious hacker in our core website that leaves little hints and codes and messes stuff up. So
And that's why you're glitching, because
that's why I'm glitching, you know.
Is
Neither
the
here nor
statement,
there.
is the statement you're dressed up as imply it's not you?
I mean, who is really Joker?
Okay, I'm just
Who is
checking.
Sam? Where do
Just-
they collide?
Okay. Ben, you're up next. Tell us about your AI creation.
All right, so yeah, AI generated a cyberpunk cyberbroker style birthday party. So there's like a little cake, and then I added some real cyberbroker elements, and then I just got my cyberbrokers hat, and I stuck a sticker on me because I don't have a lot to work with here.
Love it. That's creativity. Okay, Brianna.
So I wanted to wish CyberBrokers a mectastic birthday. So wanted to call to mine some mechs. I've got some party streamers up. So yeah, just partying over here by myself.
Also, can I just ask, did you put the letters specifically on there? Because what the D and the A, it's very funny.
Yeah, I put these on here. I ran out of signs clearly, so I had to kind of audible it. So this is where I came up with.
Yeah, I'm very curious where the D and the A came on a single sign together somewhere.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure it out. This is I was squeezing it in at the end. I counted wrong. So the sentiment is there.
Okay. And last but not least, Brendan, he creates amazing things. So we're going to give him a pass for no birthday celebration today.
He's dressed up as a leftover.
Sam said I look like a 90s hacker, so I'll take it.
There you go. That works. And then, am I even in here?
You booted yourself?
You booted yourself, Mike.
No, I don't see myself.
There
we go. Okay. So, yeah, okay, I can't see myself. So everyone knows I'm about layers. So I took the birthday layers and made a nice little background.
It looks really good.
Brianna, how's this voting going to work?
We're gonna post something in Discord. You can react with an emoji for your favorite person who's decked out for the birthday. And I believe Brooke said that there is a prize for the winner. So make sure you cast your vote. It's an important vote here on the CyberBrokers team. We all want the prize.
I need to know the prize. Is it a surprise?
A surprise.
TBA.
Okay.
There's high risk. There's high stakes. There's high stakes.
I was like, high risk. Are you gonna burn?
You're
gonna burn your CyberBroker if you lost your birthday party contest.
So for everyone that's watching, minus 3, this is the team. This is who's creating everything for you. This is who you kind of talk to sometimes, maybe without realizing it. We meet, almost every day in some fashion or group, and we're bringing you everything you're seeing. And I think, Josie, you made a comment somewhere else about the number of people on a team versus the amount they're delivering. Do you remember that?
I didn't make that comment. I made.
You made a question. You asked a question. You're right.
I had a question. Maybe it implied it, and that's not entirely what I intended. But I was really curious about the size of other teams because I'm really proud of our team. We've grown. I mean, we went from the original 4, and we've fluctuated and grown from literally at the smallest being basically 3 or 2 all the way up to what we are now. And I'm super proud of what we produce with the content, with our collectibles, with all of the different things that we're doing. And obviously, as you guys know, our standards are super high for anything that we release. So I'm really, really proud of what we've created. So I was curious on other team sizes because I want to see, like, especially when I'm buying into a collection, I want to see like how many of you guys are working on this, and are you actually working on it? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see the comparison for sure.
Yeah, and I apologize. You're right. It wasn't a comment, but it's an interesting concept to look and see, the number of people that are delivering things, because it differs greatly. And if you look back at the last year, the amount that was delivered by this team, is outstanding. I mean, look at that tweet from Brooke can probably talk about that tweet, of everything that happened last year. I mean, how long was that blog entry? It was huge.
Yeah. And I mean, we couldn't do that also without like the community, and you guys have done so much. Like we have the most amazing community. I mean, like we showed at the beginning of the stream, like Forge's birthday cake, you are a fucking all-star. James, who helped, and Rat Architect, who helped us with the whole AI and more, and more recently, those AI images, or James has been working on Pixie Bolt, which, sorry, I think we're talking about that right after this, but it's incredible what our community has also helped us create. So it's definitely our team plus our community, but I'm really proud of all of that.
So I guess the action is take another look. I'll go through and give everyone a chance to pitch quick, and then you can take it to Discord. Brianna, how soon will it be in Discord?
I'll get it posted soon after we go off screen. So
Okay.
post it in there.
Brendan, you're first. There's a whole bunch of people that are already Team Brendan. I see it in Discord. You got the best webcam, I'm hearing. So you might have actually made a good strategic decision to not go with any background because you stand out. Any final comments?
I didn't want to stand out.
Okay, fair enough.
Fun fact about Brendan is that he won the most likely to be muted award during our holiday party.
Double muted.
So yeah, so I'm surprised that you're not muted here today, Brendan. So
I came prepared today.
Yeah, big wins.
Brooke, would you like one more chance to pitch?
You know, I've said all I can say. I hope everyone can feel the spirit just kind of coming through the screen here.
Brooke is very competitive, guys. Like if he doesn't win, we're not going to hear. We're going to hear about it for the next 2 weeks. So like we're all screwed either way. So
yeah, that's pretty true. And this is one of the few team competitions that I can actually participate in because usually I'm the one throwing them, so it's like unfair if I participate. So I actually have a chance here. So I really, it means a lot. No pressure, but this means a lot to me.
I'm going to throw my support in there too because it will make my life easier as well. Yeah, so I agree. Vote Brooke.
Don't vote out of pity, you guys. I want to earn it.
Okay.
That's such a Brooke comment.
Sam, Joker. I'm sorry, Joker.
Back the planet.
All right. And actually, can you comment? Some people might not understand what the background is behind you.
The background is from our story Pandora's Box, and you have Saleya and Pandora the sheeple out in one of the beta worlds. And that is from where the background's from.
Go read it if you haven't.
Yep, go read the story. Ben AI.
All right, I just upgraded it, so now I match the background with the colors. Well, I hope that scores me extra points. And I want those votes.
He'll make you a special custom AI filter if you let him win.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go. Make an offer.
Yeah. Yeah, if I win, I'll make a brand new AR filter for the broker style of choice in VR.
Oh, sweet. Okay, that's a tempting offer. Brianna, what you got?
So I painstakingly put these stickers on this sign very early this morning before work. So I just want to get some creds for that. And then, if you vote for me, you can come join me at my birthday party here in my kitchen where I'll be hanging out for the rest of the day.
You better watch out. People might take you up on that.
I love how you throw in the word painstakingly too. You just had to make that very quick. One by one.
One by one, I peeled stickers off a piece of paper and stuck them on this banner I got. So there's a lot of hard work.
I painstakingly put every piece of sequence on this coat. Painstakingly.
I think you made that paper too, didn't you? You kind of rolled it and colored it, dyed it.
I think you would have won if the D and the A weren't on the same one, but I mean now.
You know what, Ben? Okay, I'm working with what I got here. This was the birthday sign. We're pivoting. We pivoted. This is where
you couldn't leverage technology like you. She, had to use her human hands.
Yeah, my human hands, exactly.
Okay, and Josie, pitch it.
This is my android, and she's awesome, and she's right here, and I'm kind of dressed up as her. Well, I put my hat on because I didn't have my hat on earlier. I wanted to show you guys just how cool it is. But even got the wings in the background. Mike and I had an argument before we started about whether this was the cultist sign or not, and then I realized he actually meant this. So it was fun.
Lots to see in that one. And I am going to say don't vote for me because it took me 5 minutes to throw these into my background. So
No,
don't vote.
this is awesome.
Okay. Brianna will have that running up in Discord soon. And I think we're going to say goodbye to the team and head on to, I think, what everyone's been waiting for, which is more information on Pixel Brokers after we talk a little AI. Is that right, Josie?
Yes.
Okay,
And this
so
ending part will
Hi,
be
guys.
quick. I should stay on for it. Well, not
Happy
you.
New Year.
bye, everyone.
Bye.
Okay.
But do I have cake, 10 gallon? No, I don't have cake because I am not a sweet tooth. If you'll remember the last stream, I ate fried chicken, and our team wanted to buy me cake, but I said no, buy me fried chicken instead because I'm not a cake gal. I'm a savory gal. So
I should note, I think Brooke could have sealed it if she would have smushed the cake.
Brooke, if you are listening, if you want to come back on camera and do that, please.
We'll show that, right?
Show it. We'll show it. Let us know.
Brooke, there's the challenge.
Okay, let's get really quick to the deck, to the other platforms we have.
So I'm going to show the NFT quick, and then we'll talk about accolades.
Yes.
Okay, so can you tell us when this idea started and how it kind of came about?
Yeah, so we really wanted to be able to have people who are taking part in this whole journey and the quest and all the things that we're doing have something that was commemorative and like really was special that could represent like this year that we've been through. So we started working on this some time ago, doing art from the whole first part of the story of all of the 16 chapters. And so we wanted to create images that represented everything. And what was really, really amazing about this, as you guys know, brokers are AI. AI is something we're extremely excited about and fits into our world perfectly. So we obviously for a while have had an AI bot in our Discord, which was launched with our community fund. But then we took it to the next level. We partnered up with James in our Discord, who is an all-star. If you guys have seen my Grails piece with Proof from Grail season 3, I chatted about him as well. He taught me so much about AI and taught me about all of the things that are happening on the back end. He is an AI engineer, and so he helped us create this insane collection of this insane AI generation tool that is specifically trained on our characters. So we train them on Spice, on Zinc, on Ken, on Solea, on all of these different characters to be able to create these scenes. And then internally, Ozmot helped us spice everything up with some specific art elements that we added and combined. So this was super exciting for us. We are very bullish on being innovative and using these new technologies to our benefit. And this was one of the first big ways that we've shown it, the true collaboration between AI and human art with this piece.
Yeah.
We're going to own it.
And if you participated in any quest last season, you can go to cyberbrokers.com/claim and grab that piece we just showed originally. You may have multiple wallets you connected with. Keep that in mind. And there is a list of wallets there that you can go check. So it's up for 30 days. Make sure to go grab that beautiful fusion of AI and traditional art.
Yes. And then let's really quick, I know we're running out of time, so let's show really quick some of the images from the AI bot that James helped us create. Pixie Bolt. like I just pulled out like 6 images. These are 3 of them. Dreamer, and Sheeple, and then we have yeah, like look at these. Like these are so freaking beautiful. I especially am obsessed with, well, I'm obsessed with all 3, but they look at the details, especially in the middle one. That is like the red Dreamer jacket from our collection.
Yeah.
That is like the really cool headpiece decoration behind her head. Look at the face, like that, the one in the middle, her face, she looks like a cyber broker. The
Yeah.
sheeple, like this was a little bit more of a realistic style, and she looks like a sheeple. Like I'm beyond, I was blown away. And you can start to see, I also pulled up some of the different styles that we did. The one on the far right is a nun from our collection that was in the story as well. And she's beautiful. And the hollow in the middle, these are all, these images here that we pulled are purely AI, from the trained AI. These don't have any extra added art elements.
And yeah, let's be very clear about that. So these specific characters came from trained AI. So
Trained.
James took our collection, we provided him some tools, kind of like you saw earlier with Ben showing, and he could create, you know, very infinite variations of that particular type of character. And then he trained AI to output this.
And the training, I said in many sessions with James, the training is not an easy thing to do. It took many hours to train on simply like the Bitcoin gas mask or all of these different, like the wings. Like it took many hours and a ton of effort to train it specifically on different things in our collection. So we're going to continue to add to it, but this was like a tremendous, like big thing in the background we've been working on that we're excited about, and we're very thankful for James to help us with all of it.
Absolutely. So happy birthday, brokers. You know, present number 1, go grab that NFT. Present number 2, Pixie Bolt is updated. You can use a lot of these characters right in Discord from the main story. You can take your own picture of your broker and input it and start doing things like this. So go check that out. Next week, there's a couple of workshop sessions. You know, so if you haven't seen it or you want some help, pop in. We'll get you going. It's pretty easy to get started. And as a holder, second birthday gift, update to Pixie Bolt version 2.
Nice. Okay. And then I think the last thing we're going to talk about, do you want to kick that off, Mike?
Yeah, I need to make sure what slide we're on here, so I'm taking it down. Okay, so I'm going to show the trailer first, and then we'll talk about it. Does that work?
Yeah, and it's not really a trailer. It's not our official.
The example. Okay, here we go. I love the detail in her. The keys. Do you see little keys hanging out?
I'm obsessed. We cannot wait for Pixel Brokers. Like, as you guys know, we've said from the start, like we want CyberBrokers Max. We want them to be everywhere. Like we are building for this like idea of the open metaverse, collaborating with worlds and games. And you're going to start to see more of that this year as we release things. But this is something we're super excited about. All 10,001 CyberBrokers have been made in pixel form. And we worked with the Pixel Shop, who I got to meet personally in Paris, some of the artists that were specifically working on this collection with us. And they were just amazing. And they were all hand done. And we're really excited to have you guys have pixel versions of your brokers. And we'll do like official announcements later, but we are going to be within World Wide Web, which we're really excited about. We've been chatting with them, getting like delegate cache set up and all of those things so that you guys can safely use your brokers in worlds. So sorry, Mike, I probably jumped through a million things before.
No, that's okay. Okay, so let's get to it. You know, it's you will have Pixel Brokers by the end of March. We're gonna have a special bounty that goes along with it because there's lots of cool things you can do with Pixel Brokers now. And World Wide Web is the first game that you'll be able to connect with your hot wallet, select your broker, and play. So go check out World Wide Web now, so you kind of get an idea of what it's for. And then backing up, I just wanted to touch, these aren't just pixel art. Okay, so again, CyberBrokers version of things. Standard pixel art is 32 by 32. These are 48 by 48. There's 6 frame animations. So when you see them walking, the amount of detail, and you'll see them swagger and smoke, and there's all sorts of cool little accents. And what you're going to get as holders, sprite sheets, so using the games, animated GIFs, ready for creations, and game integrations. World Wide Web will be the first, but we expect many more.
Yes.
Let's keep moving.
Okay, we did birthday. You guys, we had a tweet where we told you guys, if you guys haven't checked out cyberbrokers.com, please do yourself a favor and go check it out. But you can go to the specific CyberBrokers and add layers. And we updated some birthday layers. You guys posted your birthday tweets, and then we picked selected 5 winners from that thread. So here are the 5 winners. We have FX, which I got to meet in Paris and was freaking awesome. Also, we have, sorry, these names are really small. CPN Kidzo, Not JPEGs, Remzi 3047, and
No Gas Crypto. I like that one.
Yeah. At first, I was reading it as one word. So thank you guys for participating in the birthday layers. Super excited that you guys get to own these beautiful banners by Lost Paradigms, a community-funded project that made incredible backgrounds. So congrats, guys.
Congrats. Okay, move on to the next one.
Yes, and then the last giveaway was a giveaway that we did during Pretty's Lucky Loot. Check your wallets, they're already there. These were the wallets that were totally randomly selected from the buyer, or from the people who participated in that Lucky Loot. Ballistic Banana, you got yourself a sheeple. I don't know if you have one yet, but nice. Xerox FAF, is that Xerox Falcon? Is that
Yeah, it could be something too.
I don't know. But you got yourself a beautiful DGen, or leftover, sorry, DGen, because you looked at the shirt, leftover. 0x6453, you got yourself an awesome leftover. And then we have the Alva, who got themselves an Enforcer. And then the last one, I think, is also a leftover, and she's beautiful. Afro.
I love the combo on that one too.
Yeah.
And
the colors in the background. She looks really good.
Yeah.
Congrats, guys. Thanks for participating in the Lucky Loot, and that you guys got yourselves more brokers.
Congratulations. I know we're flying fast because you got to run. So any last statements about things coming up you want to talk about?
Yes, obviously we're all waiting on Mech Assembly. Very excited about where we're headed with that. We're doing a lot of QA and some fixing right now, so it's still taking us a little bit longer than we hoped, but it's coming. We're going to start to show you guys a little bit of behind the scenes, even if it's still a little bit not smoothed over yet, just so you can see what's going on. It's really exciting how far we've come. The tech behind it is absurd, and we'll share that too. But we have Mech Assembly coming up. Obviously, with Mech Assembly, that means we have mechs, full 3D rigged, ready to go. So we're going to also start sharing the worlds that we're going to be working with to explore and actually use your mechs. And that, like I said, with Pixel Brokers and mechs and worlds that we're collaborating with, that's like the start of collaborations with this year. We want to be everywhere all at once. So we're really excited about some of those things that we have coming up. And then, of course, later this year, we're also going to start exploring more things with drifters in digital fashion that we're working on in the background. And yeah, we can't wait to share more of this with you guys. And if you guys have any thoughts, or I'm sure you have a million thoughts or exciting things that you guys are a part of and you'd love to see us work with or think about, definitely feel free and drop it in our Discord or Twitter or whatnot. But keep hanging with us, check out the lore, check out everything we're doing. And we're really, really excited to be building this world with you guys.
Exactly. The community. It's such a great community. And the next time you're going to see us in person will be
will be
NFT NYC.
well, I will also be in person at Consensus Austin.
That's after though. Yeah.
Oh, that's after. Okay, I wasn't sure which one came first. Then yes, we will be at NFT NYC, and hopefully doing something fun there. And then I will also personally be at Austin Consensus, and we'll be showing some fun stuff there if you all will be there too. So yeah.
Awesome. Josie, I know you need to run. I think we could stay here for another 2 hours and, you know, keep having content, but thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Happy birthday, brokers.
I know. Happy birthday to all of you guys. I mean, there's so many of you who have been with us since Mint, which is so crazy. And then new people that have joined recently. And I even saw some people join after Paris. It's amazing to see everyone. So thank you. The reason why I have to run is because I'm helping my little sister move, and her truck is like that she rented is waiting outside, and I have to figure out in the next 30 seconds how I can at least semi-wash this off. But you guys were amazing. So thank you so much. And thank you for everyone that joined us on this stream. And happy birthday, brokers.
See you all on Discord and Twitter. Bye, everyone.
See you.